Now, I know that this stream is called Working on AlienTemple, and we're going to, but I just now remembered something. On the last stream, the SAST told me, oh, remove underscore from this thing. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. But I didn't connect the dots that, oh, wait, I can actually define what a word is, which is incredibly useful. I liked the idea of spider, the fact that it's like if I was using spider, I press W, it would go here as well. Now it would go to H, I think. I like that idea a lot. The W thing is often kinda useless because you have to consider where it's going to get to. The rule is to the next word or to the next set of special characters. He never runs out. He never runs out of gimmicks. I human greet you, maybe human. Come on, bro. You no rest. You could have used option. You could have used option. Some human. Right. So, right, I can actually define what a word is. I find it annoying that, okay, I go to next set of punctuation, but I would low-key expect the next W to go here then. Or for the W to skip right over to the H instead. It does neither, in a very strange and hard to get used to manner that is also not very useful. And right, I can fucking define it. And actually, I already have the NeoVim docs opened, and let's do this actually for the time being, so it's a bit easier to read. Let's go to copy options again and read through them, because they sound pretty useful. They sound pretty fucking useful. See, the thing is, I'll never use W to go to some punctuation. Never, I think, like, never once happened. If I need to go to some sort of special character, I'll either F to it or use some other way. Well, value may be missing. I'm imagining maybe is essentially an option that can be null. So you could have used option instead. Right, so let's go through stuff in this like doc and figure some new things out. I think this is one of those like very rarely known things that as you get more and more ridiculously inside of NeoVim, you get to know, are you maybe human an animal? Well, technically, yeah. A sequence of single character flags. When a character is present, this indicates Vi-compatible behavior. When a character is present. Huh. Okay, this is used for things where not being Vi-compatible is mostly or sometimes preferred. Copy options stands for compatible options. I would never fucking guess that. Because copy options, well, they read like copy options because of the copy command, but apparently not, huh? Okay. Commas can be added for readability. Cool. To avoid problems with flags that are added in the future, use the that and that feature of set. Ah, copy options. Yep. So, right, we have A, capital A, uppercase B, C, E, F, S. And I'm immediately just going to jump to my options.lua. So I have basically an explanation of what I have currently. Now, what I think, and it's probably true, is that some plugins may break because they rely on it being the default, and in which case I guess we'll figure it out, you know? In that case, I know what might be breaking it. A sequence of single character flags, right. So, compatible option A, when included, a read command with a file name argument will set the alternate file name for the current window. Considering that this was a setting for W, I kind of expected this all to be like W options. I guess not. Well, it's going to be interesting and useful in other ways. Capital A is included. A write command with a file name, yes, okay. B, lowercase b isn't included. And a map command is recognized as the end of the map command. Wow. The is included in the mapping. The text after it is interpreted as the next command. How interesting. Super interesting. A backslash has no special meaning in mappings, abbreviations, user commands, and the to part of the menu commands. Remove this flag to be able to use a backslash like a control V. For example, the command map escape results in X being mapped to be included, maps to escape, excluded. Okay. So we should like have it. Searching continues at the end. First of all, C isn't included. It is. So searching continues at the end of any match. Searching continues at the end of any match at the cursor position, but not further than the start of the next line. I don't understand what this means. When not present, searching continues one character from the cursor position. That's a difficult explanation. Okay. And then they stay for a billion seconds. Right. When not present, searching continues one character from the cursor position. With C, only gets 3 matches when repeating. Without C, there are 5 matches. I do not get this at all. I don't understand what it means. Do not concatenate source lines that are started with a backslash. No clue what that means. Using in the tags option, include or exclude cursor YouTube is horrible. Like bro, YouTube, I can't fucking read. Let's do it this way then. Now, I wonder if there's any way to like make this bigger, because now I have to reopen it. Include or exclude cursor character. Wait, there's a cursor character? So it's included by default. What does that mean? Can you elaborate? What is a cursor character? Doesn't mean to use the tags file relative to the current file, but the tags file in the current directory. Is that... No, it's not. Can't use Ctrl-K to enter a dry graph after normal mode commands with a character argument like R, F, and T. That's so specific. when executing a register with always add a enter to the last line. Why would it? Also, character under cursor. You get less and less, or rather more and more difficult to understand as streams go by. It's like more of a challenge than writing regex for GAF. Character under cursor. What? Which character? There's no character under cursor. Right, why does it do it? That's super unnecessary. Also, when the register is not line-wise. A register can be line-wise? That's crazy. If this flag is not present, the register is not line-wise in the last line. Oh, so, okay, that's not the default behavior. Good. Then the last line is put on the command line, can be edited before hitting Gotcha. If it is an error when using or an empty region, period, surprisingly, the operators only work when at least one character is to be operated on. For example, this makes fail on the first column. That's interesting. Huh, cool. When included, a read command with a file name. Don't care. Don't care. Interrupting the reading of a file will leave it modified. Don't care. For inserting indent, do not delete the indent. Oh, that's interesting. So when moving the cursor up or down, just after inserting indent for auto indent, do not delete the indent. I don't think that, yeah, it's not there. No, delete the indent, actually. A sentence has to be followed by 2 spaces. Why? A tab is not recognized. Why? Don't wait for a key code to complete when it's halfway through a mapping. This breaks mapping when only part of the second has been read. Don't care. Backslash in a range in a search pattern is taken literally. Only those are special. So this is equivalent to things are now even more difficult to understand, which you want, or rather which you need to escape, and which characters you don't. Great. The search feature in Vim and NeoVim is very wacky to begin with because it tried to have a very strange balance of regex and not regex, ending up and being something more annoying than either default option. Which is why I always use \v and \V. When the list option is set, 2 characters instead of the normal behavior or a tab, no. A show match will always wait half a second. Why? When not included, a show match will wait half a second or until a character is typed. When excluded, matching will take backslashes into account. Ooh, thus, now that, thus, in this and this, the outer parentheses match. When excluded, %sign ignores backslashes, which is compatible. Now, this sounds useful, but when I think about it, %sign is specifically for brackets. It doesn't work on something like a double quote. And it's not like I escape brackets like ever. So, no. When included, the column used for number and relative number will also be used for text of wrapped lines. No, I disagree. Wish it did. What? Oh, yeah. So it worked on double quotes. I think there's a plugin for this. I think I came across it put it in some list and forgot about it and never really checked it out. And I should someday. I don't remember what it is though. Line offset to search command is not remembered for next search. Is that the default? Can you stop? Don't complain if a file is being overwritten, even if it didn't exist when editing it. It is a protection against a file unexpectedly created by someone else. Why didn't complain about this? I love that. It's like it's like the creator of Vim is complaining about Vi here. Vi compatible Lisp indenting. When not present, a slightly better algorithm is used. Cool. Write command, don't care. When joining multiple lines, leave the cursor at the position where it would be when joining two lines. Hold up, let me understand this. When joining multiple lines, leave the cursor at the position where it would be when joining two lines. Oh, no. End me up at the latest position. Redo dot command uses / to repeat a search command instead of the actually used search string. Interesting. Huh. Now I want the default behavior. Remove marks from filtered lines. Without this flag, marks are kept like keep marks was used. Set buffer options when entering the buffer for the first time. This is like it is in Vim version 3.0, and it is the default. If not present, the options are set when the buffer is created. Set buffer options always when entering a buffer. This is the most Vi compatible setting. I don't particularly care. Search pattern for the tag command is I don't use tags. Maybe I should. Undo is Vi compatible. Undo both ways. Backspaced characters remain visible on the screen in insert mode. Without this flag, the characters are erased from the screen right away. How interesting. With this flag, the screen newly typed with this flag, the screen newly typed text, that's not a sentence, overwrites backspaced characters. That's interesting behavior, but I don't see why I would want it. We'll be back. Okay. Don't overwrite a read-only file. When omitted, overwrites a read-only file if possible. Right. Escape when the command line executes the command. Why would it? The default is Vim is to abandon, obviously, because normally abort. Yeah. When using a count with the replace text is deleted only once. When using a count with capital R, the replace text is deleted only once. Interesting. Well, I don't use capital R anyway. C is like a bit more, I guess, reasonable. A yank command can be redone with dot. Oh! It's not there. It isn't. A yank command can be redone with dot. Think twice if you really want to use this. It may break some plugins, since most people expect to only repeat a change. That's okay, that's fair. And if I think about it, why would I want to yank twice? It's very cool that this is specified here. I'm not fucking... I was just trying to select it, come on. And now the YouTuber in me tried to like select it to show it, but fuck. When using while in the read-only option is set, don't reset read-only. When redoing a filter command, use the last used external command, whatever it was. Otherwise, the last used filter command is used. When making a change to one line, don't redisplay the line. but put a $sign at the end of the changed text. The changed text will be overwritten when you type the new text. When making a change to one line, don't redisplay the line, but put a $sign. The changed text will be overwritten when you type in. The line is redisplayed if you type any command that moves the cursor. VI compatible matching is done for the command. Do not recognize if and diff. Does not recognize. Basically make that worse. When included, a write file command will reset the modified flag of the buffer. Even though the buffer itself may still be different from its file. When appending to a register, put a line break before the appended text. Definitely don't. When using this or this to repeat the last T search, and the cursor is right in front of the search character, the cursor won't move. When not included, the cursor would skip over it and jump to the following occurrence. That's how it should be. So when not included, and that's the default behavior. When using C, yeah, that is what we changed. Okay, so I thought for some reason that there would be like a bunch of options that define a word pretty much, but no. I wonder, can we though? Fuck yeah, let's break all plugins. Let's ask ChatGPT whether we can define what a word is. Why do I start streaming and get flies suddenly? Well, this is inconvenient. Oh, it got opened, right? Yeah. Is there a way to redefine what a word is for the Is there a way to redefine what a word is for those motions in NeoVim Lua? What does unemployment polymer promo mean? Fucking nothing. I have a hotkey, meta F5, that runs, let me just type in the command actually, that uses uclunner and then tj-3 into xcp, which is xclip. So it gets 3 random words, puts them together, and brings them to my clipboard. Because I cannot be bothered to actually create a title for the ChatGPT session. Basically, this API that I'm using, it can't remember stuff. So you just have to keep sending the entire conversation every time, which means that the longer you use a single thread, the more costly it becomes, which is why I should make new threads as often as possible if I don't need the previous history, which is why it's part of the reason why I made uclunner, actually. Really? I feel like for sure I saw somewhere in NeoVim docs the regex basically of a word that you could probably change, but maybe you couldn't change it. Yeah. Well, that's unfortunate. That's super unfortunate. Options. I feel like options is exactly the type of file that would contain something like this. ChatGPT might just not know about it, to be fair. Cursor column. Cursor line. Cock. Yeah. No cock. Okay, that is funny. Oh, cool. No, cool. That's actually pretty cool. So, well, yeah, exactly. Basically, uh, those things that it's talking about, I'm pretty sure, is the selecting pretty much the current line that you're on and also the column to have a plus pretty much whenever you move. I don't like it. If we look at my VS Code, all you get to see to figure out what line I'm currently on is the actual cursor and this highlighting in the gutter, because by default VS Code also highlights the line, and that is just way too much for me. It's very unnecessary, so I just removed it. Therefore, I don't really want this behavior in NeoVim either. Define. Ooh. It's C bullshit. I don't use it. Delete combine. If editing Unicode and this option is set, backspace in normal mode, X, delete each combining character on its own. When it is off, the default, the character along with its combining characters are deleted. Yeah, I want the default. We have dictionary, diff, join the current window. Yeah, whatever. Okay, I'm bored. Let's get to AlienTemple. Let's open it in VS Code. And it opens in the correct place, which I'm honestly kind of surprised by. So, AlienTemple. What this program is, let's look at its file tree. We use tree, and basically we have a bunch of verbs. In this case, 9. As a program to let you track your shows with get. You can add a new show to watch later, then you can pick a show from that list to like start watching it, and then you get to track both the episodes you've watched and the episodes you've downloaded. Then once you decide to drop or you finished a show, you can, well, drop or finish it, and it will end up in another list, like formatted nicely. There's some more stuff too. Like, for example, you can use it to open a show in your browser. So say you watched 20 episodes of a show and you want to continue watching it, you can use a command to open the 21st episode of that show because it's the next one. And same thing for downloads. You can open, say, the 36th episode because you want to continue downloading them. I've been using it for a while, but it was written in other hotkeys, so I'm rebuilding it now in C#. Why C#? Because it somewhat is okay to use for this. Now, Rust would be better, but I mean, where isn't it? And I need some experience in C#, so here we go. Now, I worked on this project quite some time ago, so I'll probably need to remember some stuff. Right, so shows dictionary should extend a dictionary. JSON numbers are treated like they're typed, so make sure not to have quotes around them. Okay, so that I already did. Align shows output using their lengths, boot up time path checking for everything. So this I'm pretty sure I didn't do yet, but align shows output using their length I also probably didn't do. Okay, so that's where we ended off last. We have, actually let me do this. I think it's going to make more sense until I can't read something. Okay, so we have a shows dictionary. Let me actually show you the structure that we expect and the structure that we built. So we have objects. Yeah, we have objects that contain 3 properties: downloaded, episode, and link. And link is supposed to be such a link that you can append the value of episode to it, and if you run it, you open that episode. That's usually the case, so that's how I do it. So shows dictionary, in this case, would be Daredevil, that contains show property, which is these 3 properties, and we deserialize them into shows dictionary that contains show properties as well, and then we use toString for one of the verbs that you can use in the terminal program to show all of your shows. And this is the first functionality that I'm building because it seemed the easiest. So this is going to be like a bigger project than GAF. Right, so we got max lengths, which is this struct, believe it or not. Yes, fucking using structs in C#, crazy. Which is basically a thing that contains the maximum length of the show name, the episode, and the downloaded thing. Because we're not going to be showing the link, because you should be using a different command to just run it, and maybe we will implement a thing that just returns, like outputs to stdout the link. And when you want to view your shows, you just want like something simpler, just get a list, you know. And then what would make sense is to implement a way to only pick some of them, but that's like for way later, I think. So we got max lengths. So first of all, show key. Let's do it a bit differently. String show name is show key YV capital B. Nice. Show name to make it a bit more readable. Now you don't really need to know that the key is the show name, because you do. You do know that now. Okay, so we have max lengths. And we need to append. Right, so we need to figure out the length of the current thing and subtract it from the max length of the thing. I think it's going to be easier to showcase in an example. So we get int show name length. Why did you choose C# rather than C++ or something else? First of all, C++ is fucking horrible. I don't think you should use C++ for anything really. And C# I chose because I need work experience in C#. Otherwise I would be using Rust. Yeah, that's pretty much the reason. I chose C# because this type of program can be done in C#. GAF couldn't really be done in C#, because if you try to run a program, and right now this shouldn't run, Well, sure. Let's try again. So first it will have to compile, and it doesn't. Well, basically what I'm trying to explain here is C# takes some time to start, to like execute. I guess a better example that I can already show you is Chord Tracker, also written by me in C#. See the delay? Having that type of delay in something like GAF would be detrimental. So I just could not use C#. But this program, it's fine if I have a bit of a delay. So that's why I'm using C#. Right, so show name length is show, actually no, we use max length, show name minus, yes, and we do a similar thing for the other stuff. So episode length, max length. Wait. It also fucking misspelled it. Oh, that's hilarious. That's so funny. Fuck. That's hilarious. So max lengths, episode minus show value episode length, and downloaded length, max length. I'm noticing that streaming with low latency and doing C# is taking a toll on my system. It's not too like impossible. Maybe Java maybe Java would be a better choice, although this is all as subjective as possible. But Java won't die for a long time, and I think Java devs make more money. Though maintaining legacy code is, yeah, exactly. I could learn Kotlin, but like I already spent all this time learning C#. I might as well continue, you know? Like, fuck Java. Absolutely fuck Java. I simply do not want to. I actually somewhat enjoy... Oh, it understood. Holy shit. Except... Right. We would use toString first then. I actually somewhat enjoy C#. It has some moments that feel good. So it's sometimes not horrible, but to be fair, I'm like saying this out of the experience of using Rust, and that is just an unfair comparison. You could like say, oh, fuck, what's a comparison? I don't even know. Oh, I finally, like, I don't know, ate some really great food, and now eating shit doesn't feel that good. Yeah, no shit. Well, yes, shit in this case, but yeah, it's unfair to compare C# to something like Rust because, well, obviously. It's like comparing a kid to an adult in the field of like playing chess, for example. Personally, I don't like Java and C# at all. I tried writing something in C# and it didn't appeal to me at all. I can see that. I can super see that. What languages do you like? Right, so what we do now is just append show name, actually, new string which is a space. Can you shut up? Show name length. So that's how we do it. We append a new string which takes a single character and multiplies it. Pretty convenient. And we do a similar thing here, append, and also new string. Hold up, this should be a space. Downloaded length, episode length. Wow. Amazing. Incredible. Episode length. And here, so we only need the first two, right? So first we would get the show name, after it we align it, then dash episode, the episode, we align it again, and we don't need to do that after downloaded. Three of my favorite languages are Golang, I've heard many good things about it, JavaScript and TypeScript, which I'm surprised by, and Rust. Well, Rust is like, of course. Rust is like, it's a very different experience coding in it. But it's an experience that gets more and more likable as you do it. I'm waiting until I'm as good in Rust or C#, honestly, as I am in AutoHotkey, because I basically reverted in terms of like knowledge, and now I'm worse like as a programmer in these languages because they're kind of new to me. Not really, but they're not as known to me as AutoHotkey. Let's hear some more web crashing. I mean, like, it's such a mess, though. It's such a ridiculous mess. TypeScript, I think, is fine, but JavaScript, oh my god. It's the ultimate interpreted language. It gives you no fucking safety. So, it's... Well, yeah, I got downloaded length, but I don't actually need it, now that I realize. So let's comment it out. It's true that we don't need it right now, but I could see it being useful in the future. So I'll just comment it out, which I do very rarely. I usually just delete code. And in theory, this should work, but it probably doesn't, as things usually do. So shows data to string, and we console right line it. Okay. So let's .NET run. What happens? Cool. Shows us all that. No verb selected, so we can use a dash. I already explained all of them, which I love. Usually I would skip that until much later. Set watched, set link, set picked, set downloaded, set list watched. And by the way, the reason why they have a dash inside of them instead of them being subcommands of set is because it would be very annoying to do. It would be very annoying to implement. And that's the entire reason. Right, so list watched, list shows. Let's try this out. List shows. Yeah. Oh wow. This works already. However, let's change this line to just right. Nice, nice, that's better. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly what I want out of it. I'm also kind of surprised. I'm always like consistently surprised when things work for me, when really like I shouldn't. We may eventually implement a way to string it differently. And that would be just its own method that would maybe only show the show names, because eventually I will implement a feature that lets you choose a show if you don't specify it for something like set link. No, not set link, something like set episode. Instead of specifying a show, you could instead omit it, and then it will be presented to you so you can choose. But right now, let's commit, and since this says is like I can be static, let's make it static. Okay, so implement shows list. Implement list shows. Cool. So align shows output using dollar lengths, boot up time, path checking for everything. Okay, so first of all, we have config. You can make a config file, and if you're using this, you pretty much have to, because the default path is stupid because I want it to be where I want it to be. Because remember, at the end of the day, I'm making this program for myself mostly, and I don't want to make a config file for myself where I would put it in some other place. Makes sense? Yeah, so okay. I had some issue with this get temple directory. Right, I think the issue that I had is that public set temple directory. Yeah. Oh, I think I already fixed this issue. So you used to keep calling a property that would essentially execute this, but now it only executes it once. Right. Config innards is also private. Now I don't specifically remember what boot up time path checking for everything means. So let's just continue on to like implement other stuff. What other verbs do we have? So we have lists. We started with lists. So let's continue on and implement lists. So list shows, list watched. List watched should be pretty simple, and list actually this shows. So it creates a new shows repository and uses list. And that's our repositories watched, which is not implemented yet. Okay, so we have 3 repositories for 3 different files. Let me show you to them. So the first one is shows that you can see right now. But aside from that, we have watched and watch later. Watched is just a text file with lines. Yeah. And once you finish watching something, it puts a date. And if you dropped it rather than finish it, then it says dropped. So let's look at JSON shows repository. Okay, I see. List shows. Okay, so how does shows repository work? We have a file path that gets the temple directory, and we have shows data. That is the model that we have for the data inside. We could deserialize that file into a list of lines, for example. But do we really need to? I don't think it's really going to be helpful. So let's once again look at the actions that we may take. Let's look at tree. What are the verbs related to watched that we would do? List watched. It would just print the entire file. That's literally it. Downloaded, picked, set watched. Set watched? Now, what is that supposed to mean? Set watched. Update how many? So that's a shows thing. The JSON manipulation once again, which we already have like done. Show add JSON manipulation, show finish both JSON and the watched file, in which case we just append line, which is pretty simple. Show watch. And show watch opens the browser. Show download also opens in the browser. Okay, so what we can do is instead of deserializing it, we just grab the, what's it called? Like the pointer to the file, basically. We open it and that's it, right? Okay, that makes sense to me. Okay, so first of all, we take this with GRR so that we can change size string watched.txt. Is this correct? It is. Boom, we got the path. And then private read only file handle is okay, so file open, I think. File options, no. File info. Which one? Open read. Okay, what do we have? I didn't specify the type because I don't know it yet. I don't know. Like, what's the type of the file? I think file info. File info. File. Okay, so new file info. File path, I imagine. The fully qualified name of the new file, or the relative file name, do not end the path with the directory separator character. Initialize a new instance of the file info class, which acts as a wrapper for a file path. I'm here the whole time, but had you on mute. You fucker. Okay. Right, can be simplified. That's, yeah. hold up. We do it like this, and then I guess not. But there's nothing to scroll, so whatever. I'm not going to explain again. What I'm thinking about right now is, do we need to like grab the file handle or whatever? Because we can very much easily just do something like file append line, can we not? Which is the reason why we're just going to do that. Great explanation. So, what else do we have in the shows repository? Ensure exists, a very important thing. Public watched repository with no parameters, and I keep putting the brackets in the incorrect position. Ensure exists. Let's implement it. Ensure, boom. Okay, what private static void, probably going to be static here too, which, if path doesn't exist, let's actually, yeah, let's, yeah, capital M. Remember, capital A is append at the end. I do remember. I use it quite often, especially in something like C# where I may need to append a semicolon. It's very convenient. Right, so let's grr. But now, instead of an empty JSON object, it's just an empty string. In which case, why are we writing all text? Why not create? What is create text? Okay, that didn't go well. What is create text? C# create text. What's the difference between create text? Creates or opens a file for writing UTF-8 encoded text. The file already exists, its contents are overwritten. It returns a stream writer. We're not really gonna need much complexity, because everything that the watched repository needs to do is to be able to append a line to a file. We then figure out what that line is specifically, but yeah, that's it. And we would do that in the verb, actually. So we define what we want to do. If we want to move it or add it, and we would always move it, to be fair. No, not necessarily. Okay. Okay, so I don't think we need to create text. We just need to file create. Right, so it's just going to be an empty file, meaning that we don't really need to specify anything. So let's D2AA. Why can I not do it? D2NA? No. Delete 2 inside. Oh. How did I notice it only now? Holy shit. The N text object that I now have overrides targets, which is crazy. Right, okay. So no, not n. Something like this may work. But no, because it's already used. Let me think of something that would go well and go hard. A dot I don't think is used. And I don't see why we wouldn't use it. Let's try it out to see why we shouldn't. Okay, so D2NA. Delete 2 inside. Oh, delete 2ANA. Finally, I figured it out. So delete 2 inside around. Delete 2 around next argument. Here it is. Now you may say, fuck NeoVim says, what the fuck is that? You really need to spend all this time to do something as simple as that. No, you don't really. You could have done that like in a more habitual manner. Jump to the comma and delete till this. But I just really like figuring out more efficient ways of doing it. And I do that because I actually end up using them pretty consistently. So I got used to something like, say I end up here for some reason. I got used to doing something like to the system register, yank 2 inside next quote. That's a difficult motion as well, but I got used to it and now it's simple. So for that reason, I try to get used to something like this as well. So we create the file if it doesn't exist. Anything else that we need to do? Shows data. Here we deserialize and read and also and all that. So read shows we will also implement. So public string read, just read actually, nothing complex. We implement a read thing that just takes the file path and returns the thing. It's pretty simple. So return file read all text. Yes, that. And I made it so if there is an inline suggestion, it is being picked over the one in this window, which is very convenient now. And it's saying that it can be static, and yeah, it's true. List watched may eventually have parameters. So maybe you can, if you want to specify which shows you specifically want to show. But once again, I think I'll go with the approach of implementing the simple things first. Not necessarily implementing the simple things, implementing core functionality first and improvements second. I think that makes sense. So you can finally start using it sooner than later and then improve it to make it better. Right, so when we run, we new watched repository read. It should be public, and it is. Oh, but we don't need to create. It actually needs to be not static. And the reason for this is so that we make sure that the file actually exists. Which makes me think that it's probably not a good way of doing it. Okay, so YSSB console write. And that should be it. So list watched. Let's try it out. .NET run list watched. And it should print like a lot of stuff. And it does. Perfect. Now, interactively, this isn't very nice. You get printed a lot of text, but that is done so we can maybe do some other actions on it. Say what you can do is .NET run blah blah blah, and then you maybe pipe into RG to look for dropped. So it's on you to create behavior that you may want. See? So that's why it's like very simple. And then again, eventually, I might implement a way to show only some specific shows, which you would search for. Okay, so that is done. Impl list watched. Let's yank inside quote. Impl this list watched. Great. What else do we have in list? List watch later. And actually, I should be writing down these ideas. List shows or watched or watch, maybe not watch later. If you know what you have in your watch later at all, you wouldn't be calling it. But in watched, maybe you want to see the date or whether you dropped it or not. So that makes sense to me. Okay, so list shows or watched. Should give you the optional ability to specify a list of show names that you specifically want to show. I could be creating like a new issue on the project for all of these, but there's so much behavior still left to implement that it's unreasonable to make it like professional this early on. This is whack though, the fact that, or is it whack? Maybe not, but feels pretty whack. The fact that this is not static because it relies on ensure exists to run. It's true that we could just put it here too, but you know, whatever. And I'm not like using more advanced, not really. I'm not using file pointers like file info and stuff like that, because this is a program that just does one command and exits, rather than some type of string of different commands. So it doesn't really need to be efficient. It just needs to do an action twice, and once we reach any of these methods, we're done. We like exit the program. And reading a file in this case is infallible because we know for sure we created it, and if we didn't, we would throw an error way prior, so it's okay. List watched. And now the last thing, list watch later, which will work exactly the same. Okay, so watch later repository, which are going to work in a very similar way. So let's just yank inside indent and put it here. But instead of watched, it's going to be watch later, not watched repository, but watch later, and ensure exists works exactly the same. And the reason why we have different repositories is to separate responsibilities. Watched will be written to. It will also probably contain a way to get it. It by itself won't contain a way to get a date. There will be a different class that does exactly that. But basically, different types of things are going to be written there and there. And using a single repository for both of them right now feels like incorrect. But I might be splitting them up for no reason. That may very much be true. And making an interface to combine them for no reason, by the way, doesn't really work, because some of the functions that are needed, like ensure exists, that is static, well, I can't use it in an interface because it's static. And since it can be static, it should. Right, so watch later. We have the same exact thing, basically. We CW, and now new watch later, yep, repository, read. It's another infallible operation, so we just return 0. Let's .NET run list watch later. Ooh, interesting, an error. Why? The process cannot access the file. Proc shows watch. Fuck, I forgot to put in the txt extension. Hold up, 2t double quote txt. Okay, so now it should work. Nice, and it just lists out every single line. Huh. Interesting that it has a, like, missing new line character here. Interesting that those two files behave differently. Well, I guess it makes sense, I should say. Cool that read all text doesn't include the final new line, which makes write be like very literal. Hold up. I don't get it. Okay, capital Q, TE, huh. How does this shit work? What is go forwards? QTE, QET, like where is it jumping to? Why R? What's up with my sneak plugin? So this supposedly works. Okay, whatever. Let's do it a different way. Well, yeah. So we can add the missing final new line, because in this case it is needed. The reason for this is that if you try to copy this, whoops, copied this random symbol. Now, to be fair, it's not necessarily true that you'll have it. It's not true necessarily that you'll copy it like this. It's just that here it makes sense to have a final new line, because for the most part, things should have it. And then if you want to not have it, you just print this. So you printf into brackets .NET run and so on. You wouldn't actually be .NET running because you would have a quote-unquote binary. Well, you would, and I'll just have a symlink to the build because C# binaries are huge if you make them like be on their own. Okay, so views have been very easy to implement, and I enjoy that because it's pretty nice. Implement list watch later, right? Impl list watch later. Cool. Now the scary part, set. It may be not as scary as it sounds now, and that's probably true, because I'm coming from the standpoint of, oh my god, that was so annoying and difficult to do in auto hotkey, therefore I expect functionality specifically to also be difficult to implement in C#, but in all of my experience, functionality is the easiest part in C#, because you have like abstraction methods for doing pretty much everything. What's more difficult about C# is the fucking structure, all the insane boilerplate that you have to do in an object-oriented language. Right, so let's open set downloaded verb, and set downloaded, update how many episodes you've downloaded of a show. And here as well, the first thing that we'll do is implement a way to set downloaded when you specify a show, and then we'll make it so we'll make it so you can choose. So right, so you can choose the show instead of specifying it. In set downloaded verb, set downloaded. All right, so first of all, we'll have to figure out how to define a thingy, a thing even. Right, how to define arguments. And we'll have three. The second one. So the first one is going to be how many, so episodes. Count, it will be count. Okay, so the first one is count, it will be an integer, and that is the how many episodes you've downloaded. Then the name of the show, and that's it. Now, you know what, the first one is going to be the name of the show, and let me explain why. When you will AlienTemple set downloaded, and then you want to say One Piece is real. One Piece, and then say 888. Okay, like you run this command, and you're like, okay. and then you AlienTemple and you want to search it in history, or rather you try to like run it again, and there is a fish auto suggestion. If the show is last, the auto suggestion will be more annoying, and they're very useful. So let's make the show the first parameter instead. If that becomes an issue later, I'll just update the major version, whatever. But you know what we have to do to figure this out? We have to read documentation. Okay, documentation is okay, but C# documentation, because it's bad. Command line, not fish, but C# instead. The wiki is limited and kind of bad. Yeah, that's it. So verbs. Command line grammar. Shore name. Makes sense. I made a PR to, no, actually not this one, another argparse library for C#. Made a PR fixing a bunch of mistakes in the README, and then realized that it hasn't been updated in many years, and I'm like, fuck. So it has the same issue. That's funny. Oh, right, what am I talking about? I don't necessarily have to care about the order if I just use options. Right, of course. Let's read through this. Multiple options may follow a hyphen delimiter in a single token if the options do not take arguments, switches, or Boolean options. Can be merged together. Thus, ABC is equivalent to this. Yes, that's how it works. Option names are single alphanumeric characters. An option and its argument value may or may not appear as separate tokens. In other words, oh, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. This is valid, and also this. For options as Boolean options, and F as scalar string option. This is not allowed. Long name. Long names are more clear than their corresponding short names. Long options are meant to be obvious and easy to remember. So instead of subverbs, I could use an option, like for set, for show. But that's also not really it. Ideally, I would want to eventually just make subverbs. Long options are meant to be obvious and easy to remember, and their meanings are generally easier to discern than those of their corresponding short options. Long name can be merged with its value using this separator. Thus, blocking factor and are equivalent. My app creates verbose blocking factor. That's cool. Options terminator dash. Oh, okay. Terminates for all options. Any following arguments are treated as non-option arguments, even if they begin with a hyphen. Parser can be configured to accept as option terminator. Okay, named option types. Named options are classified to 3 types: switches, scalars, and sequence options. Switch option is a Boolean type. It's false by default. If it's passed in the command line, it will be true. Switch can be nullable, and it can be in 3 state value. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know about nullable. That's nice. Check in true by default. Why is it true by default? Okay, so option, default, true, casted to bool, I imagine. Ah, I see. Yeah. Scalar options require one and only one argument value. Option, and we specify how it's called. I want to know how to specify the short option. Sequence option. Sequence options require one or more argument value. Its type is this. Option name may be repeated more than one time. To be fair, what I could do instead is just look at how I define this in short tracker, because I also use this library there. Okay. Let's do exactly that. So in verbs, remove verb. But I use value. I don't actually use a single short option there. I guess that's why I don't know how to do it. Yeah. Okay. Oh, nice. All of them are explained. Fuck yeah. Option attribute class provides sets of properties to enable the property as a named option having its short or long name like. You meant alike. Properties. Default gets or set mapped property default value. Okay. Group. Help text. Oh. Okay. Hidden. Oh, you can hide it from a help text. That's interesting. Long name. That's probably, yes, short name. Okay. So the first thing is public. Do we need to make it public? We probably do, right? Yes. Naturally. Public. So the first thing we're thinking of is string. Public string show get set option short. Can I even do this? I'm not sure. And it's suggesting me that, but I'm also not sure if I can do that. Maybe short, like this. How do I actually specify them? Can you show me an example? It's silly that I can't find an example of how to use a short option. I'm super unsure. Okay, short name made of one. Yeah. Okay, maybe home. Okay. Oh, that's cool. Didn't know you could do that in C#. Getting started. Fucking finally, lol. Okay, so we specify the short option here, but we don't specify the long one as well. Like, what's the ideal way of doing both of those? Because it's the, like, it's what you usually want, right? Option attribute, immutable options type. It's silly that it's never shown. It's so silly. But what do I expect out of C#, right? So we have short name, long name. Short name is -s for show. Long name is show. And it's not recognized. Interesting. It's not a valid named attribute argument. There's only a getter here. Okay, so I specify this. DAA. Now long name isn't. Nope, it's not it. Delete to around next argument. Does it not recognize that as the next argument? DAA, no. D2AA, no. Delete to around next argument. Why does it jump there? Okay, DAA. So that's also not it. Long name. So now this doesn't work. Short name. No, this doesn't, yeah. That is so stupid. Oh my god. So this works, like, huh? Are they exclusive? Like, do I either have a long option or a short option? That's so silly. API reference option attribute. Okay, so option attribute. Right, that's how attributes are done in C#. Initializes a new instance of the option attribute class. The default long name will be inherited from target property. Char string. So what you're telling me is if I specify it like this, it will work. Really? Oh, that's interesting. So this is how you do it, apparently. Just kind of wish it was just shown. Like, when you make a program, explain how you do what you probably want to do, you know? Like, you probably want both a short and a long option. And I've yet to notice it in the docs, which is so silly. Okay. Oh, fuck. Now that I understand how we do that, let's create another option. So show count. Now, correct me on this if this is like a silly flag name. Yes, actually. Default 0. Why would you want to run the command? No. If you use set downloaded, you have to specify something. So in other words, required. Show is required as well. And I'm pretty sure I can do this because I also did it in short tracker. So let's look at some verb that, yeah, here. But I also specify a required true. I am unsure if I need to. So the reason why we're making both of those options instead of values, where they would be like one after another, is so that you can specify them in either order, whichever one you like more. Okay, so you specify a show and a count. Set downloaded. Okay. So let's go to a repository of shows. Go to our DAP. So public methods first, private methods after. Public void for now, but could be int. Set downloaded, but we don't see verb. So what we take in is a string show. Yeah, actually definitely is an int, because what if you put in a show that doesn't exist? Show int count, and show should be lowercase. Let's return 0 at the end. And here we're actually going to be using shows data. Okay, so shows data. Right, what about saving the file? Right, I'll just run that in every method, I think. No, I won't, because that's silly. Public void save. So we have deserialized shows, and now we need to serialize them. We have read shows, ensure exists, var JSON serializer serialize shows dictionary, shows data. Yes. Oh, we don't actually need this. It's that simple, huh? Okay. String. Now, yeah. Let's comment this out for now. Okay, so we get the JSON file, write all text, file path JSON, yes. That's all we do. That's all we do. Okay, so now shows data. How do we access it? I forget. So it's a dictionary. Shows data is a dictionary, which is why we specify show here. Downloaded is count. Yes. Yes. However, before we do that, what if there's no such show? So if shows data keys any contains show, or rather if it doesn't, then we why that? Okay, so it's saying that I don't necessarily have to access show data. Well, we'll see. Return 1. What are you saying? Use contains key. Oh, that's interesting. Show data contains key. Show, or rather, if it doesn't, we'll return 1. Is there an option type in C#? Is there an option type in C#? Kinda like the one in Rust. Damn, it's kind of slow. No. It's not exactly what I'm... Yeah, you could make it, but it's not worth it, I don't think. Like monadic behavior. Wow. Okay, that's not a big deal. Because what I'm thinking of is returning either a correct value, which is 0 in this case, or if we don't return value, we return a string, which is the error message that we then print. And let's actually see how I handle this right now. I just return result, which means that what we're gonna do is just write, or rather console error write line to write our error messages, and that's it. Which is like kind of whack because we're introducing side effects. But I guess that's how you do it. It's okay, but it's not perfect. Write line show. Hold up, there's like a cooler way of doing it. Show doesn't exist. YSAB. So we write the error message, show doesn't exist. If it doesn't exist. And also count has to be at least some value. So string we handle here, because if we specify a string, then we need C# to know whether there is such a show. However, count, I'm pretty sure we can just specify to be at least like minimum, something along those lines. But actually inside, minimum is 1, right? Yeah, if you're updating how much you've downloaded, you have at least downloaded 1. So that is being checked on the, like, on that side, basically. So count is correct. Well, you might have set it to something that you don't actually want to set it to, but it's correct. Now that we made sure that the show exists and count is an actual number that you could have downloaded, so not negative, to be fair, 0 I think makes more sense, because maybe you've been downloading stuff and now you want to specifically, for yourself, specify that I do not download this show. So yeah, let's make it 0 for better usability. And yeah, set downloaded now works. So in run, we create a new shows repository, and we set downloaded show count. And we return that. Okay, so var, or rather shows a repository repo is new, then we simplify it, repo int status exit status is this. We got the exit status, which we then return if it works. it still returns 0. And we repo save. And the reason why we don't save here is the don't repeat yourself principle. Because I'm gonna save in pretty much every single method, we might as well do it outside to only have this single line take care of all of them. But I didn't consider one silly fact. No, actually, this line will appear in multiple places. Yeah. Right, I'm stupid. Well, at the very least, if we do it on the outside, we get the option to do multiple actions at the same time and then save. So this is better, I think, still. And this, by all accounts, should now work. So let's .NET run list shows let's set downloaded show is one piece, actually the boys 2, count like 5. Let's see. Oh Jesus. Okay, what happened? Invalid operation exception. Scalar option specifications do not support range specification. Strange. And like, what does that mean, right? Line 7. What type was it parsing? Can I debug compiler errors? Probably somehow. Scalar option specifications do not support range specification. What does that mean? First of all, oh. Scalar. What does scalar mean, first of all? What does scalar mean? Scalar option specifications do not support range specification. So in other words, wait, no, hold up. It's still talking about enumerable, which I do not have. Right? Like, what? Let's try this out. So it was that. So you can't do validation of integers in the attribute? That is so silly. Actually, let's try this out. The amount of the count of episodes you've now downloaded. Oh, so it isn't that. So yes, indeed, you cannot have attribute validation for integers. Wow. Wait. Min isn't... that's interesting. Min isn't about how big or small a number is. It's about how many enumerable parameters or arguments you specify. Right, of course. Of course, right? Right, and of course. So I'm actually looking for something entirely different. Command line. Can I go back? Yes. Okay, so max. Right, that makes sense. Property meta value, usually an uppercase hint of required value type. Required. Now, wouldn't it understand from the required keyword that I use? So yeah, apparently you can't do validation. That's surprising. It's pretty surprising. So what we have to do in the shows repository, if count is less than 0, that's so annoying. That's so really annoying. If count is less than 0, console error write line enter only non-negative integers, return 1. So we put the validation here. Let's also write the help text, because otherwise I'll never do it. The count of episodes you've now downloaded, the show name you want to update. Alright, let's, I guess, do it again. Let's make it this. Will it be seen as an option? It may be. Well, yeah, basically works. So let's .NET run list shows to check whether it's correct. Yeah, it just straight up works. See, that's what I'm talking about. Functionality in C# is the easiest thing. The hardest one being the glue of libraries. Okay, let's actually get fucking stage modified. That all would work too. Oh, what? And suddenly it doesn't work. What? What? Huh? Now what the fuck? Do I have to... Why does it suddenly not work? Oh my god. Okay, I'll fix it. What did we just implement? Okay, implement set downloaded. Okay, we're done with the project for today. Let's now fucking fix GAF again. Now I'm incredibly confused as to why it doesn't work, because it's supposed to. It's super supposed to. Let's go to parser. What do we want to debug here, I wonder? Let's yes inside word b debug. Like, this probably means that my release doesn't work. And that's kind of ridiculous. Let's cargo run. Let's build so that we can use debug, copy the path of this. Let's open a new window, GSA actually. Let's go to info, this stage modified. So it works. Right, so there were 2 on stage notifications and stage deletion, so that all worked. What happens if I change debug to target? Oh, that's target. Release. And that works too. How interesting. Yet, I have a sneaking suspicion that uppercase files don't work. Okay, let's go to AlienTemple. And let's, I don't know, touch test. Oh, test. Right? Or actually another thing that may not work. Let's gaf stage modified. No, it works here. Gaf stage new. So, what? Hold up, now I'm confused. Let's remove test. Let's open something in new vim and change it. New program. Let's add a comment. Let's gaf stage modified. Now I'm just completely confused. Like, entirely confused. Like, suddenly it works again. Huh? Okay. What was the situation? I guess I closed that window. The situation was, no, it was normal. Programs. Okay, let's add a comment here and add a comment here. Gav stage modified. No, it just works now. Maybe it didn't work because my like that terminal window was old. I'm just gonna hope that it's the case. Let's get reset hard head. Strange. And get reset hard head. So it just wanted to complain, it just wanted some attention. That's the only thing that I'm guessing is the case. Okay, let's go to shows. What do we have changed here? Watch later. Oh, actually no. Watch. What am I doing? Oh, it's not considered as a file. Watch later. Let's gav stage. No, it just works. It literally wanted to complain and that's it. That's funny. Wow. Okay, another thing that I noticed. I'm so used to using X, and I changed that to essentially execute GE. That's a great idea. I'm so like unused to it that I'm considering changing it. Well, first of all, let's gav and do this. Does GE do anything? GE is essentially just B. Yeah. The GE doesn't do anything. I guess I could make it work like it's supposed to, but whatever. Map or what's the thing? Config. So how do you, okay, bind, yes, and it just shows you every single one of them. Bind preset, oh, interesting. So let's try to find GE here. And I imagine it's just not defined. No, it is. Backward word. So the same as, Let's open another terminal, gav, so we can experiment on it. So B, E, E. So what I want GE to do is to go back a word and forward a word. So forward single character, forward word, backward character. How interesting. Okay. So let's go here. Okay. Bind dash capital M default GE. Actually, no, not GE, X. We'll redefine it to mimic what it's now doing for me in VS Code. So the way the Vim keybinds in fish work, they're just combinations of fish commands, as you see here. It's just one command after another, and that's it. So what we want GE to do, and what it does like anyway, is go backward and go forward. So we use backward word first. Let's copy it. Paste it, so backward word, and then what E does. So all these. Okay, then capital X. Let's see if sneak works. No, not really. Why did it start working? Config key map plugins. By all accounts, that should be working. Yeah. Oh. Hold up. F. Yeah. So that is that. And that is that. So it should be working, but it doesn't. For which reason I might consider using something like hop again. Okay. So what does GE do? Backward big word. Rather here. It doesn't matter, but yeah. Let's gr until the end of the line, add a space, and then we want capital W. Another thing that I want to figure out is to fix DAW. Backward. Okay, so delete inside word and delete a word are exactly the same, and that is not supposed to be how it works. Delete a word should also delete white space. I found this pretty annoying about fish, the fact that they're the same. And there's probably something like kill character. So these are fixed, pretty sure. Right? Yeah. Now, kill. We have kill selection. Is kill selection just kill character? Repeat jump, kill selection, and selection. Oh, delete char. Right, so these two, let's first of all just copy them, paste them. We don't put preset, so let's change those. Dash capital M, default. kill word and then delete char. That's it, right? Yes. Okay. Another thing that I want to do is make G capital M automatically add a 0, or rather multiply by 10. If you didn't know, G capital M moves you to the middle of the line. You can also specify a percentage to it. So to go to 20% of the line, you would have to 20 G capital M. And let me show you an example. 21 G capital M. Is that much of a difference? You used G capital M to move to more or less some place, like more or less 20%. You're never going to actually use a precise percentage. We just want to go somewhere on the line and then use other motions to get where you actually want to be. So what I want to do is make myself able to just say 2GM to go to 20% of the line, and that will actually improve my usage of GM much more. And then I might actually just remove the sneak plugin because I won't really need to anymore, you know? So these two should be fixed now. Let's just reload this. We have stage modified. First of all, X does shit all. Well, if we are not, so if we are, how interesting. So if we are at the start of the word, then it works. I see why that could be like annoying slash difficult to implement. Yeah, you go one word back and then go forward. If you do it like this, your position doesn't change. That's pretty annoying, but okay, that's good to know. I still like being able to do this at all. So I'm gonna keep this behavior. And another thing, DAW, fucking finally. Can I CAW? And they're the same. Okay, let's CAW to modify them in a very similar fashion. And we also change, actually let's do it smartly. Preset dash capital M default, yes. I thought that plus automatically meant +1 if you don't specify anything. Interesting that it's, oh, that's a pasting issue though, not the command that I just did. So here, what I could do is like 10 GM, but it's like too much. And by the way, just so you know, I remapped G lowercase m to do G capital M, and this is still like way too much. If I could do just 1GM, I would do it way more often. So instead of fucking around, let's do it right now. GM, and it's not here, that's surprising. Okay, so dot files neovim. Actually, yeah. Neovim. RG, G capital M. It's in remaps, okay. Here it is. So it's going to move into features. Let's go here. Boom. CAQ. So v, or rather vim v count 1 multiply by 10, and then G capital M. Whether this works or not, I have no clue. If it just does like that, that's crazy. Hold up. Interesting. It should have been at least 10 then. Oh. Yes, so it's now 10 by default. And if I say 1GM, okay, yeah, so that's not what I was thinking of doing. Local function simplify GM. Oh my god, Grandmaster, oh my god. By the way, I do that kind of option very often. Well, very often specifically with defining functions. In Lua, I do B, I, escape I. I don't know why, it just feels like the way to do it. Even though technically, it's probably BHI space. Yeah. So feed keys, start with feed keys. I don't think we, yeah. So we just vim v count 1 multiplied by 10 and G capital M. CIA, which is really funny. I would think it wouldn't. Oh, C capital I A, right? And we simplify GM. Let's restart. And GM now. Huh, wow. So it evaluates this expression. That is so annoying. That's so incredibly annoying. Oh, but this works. Oh, so it works, but it's now... That's funny. Ooh, not 1. Just count. If it's 0, it will be 0 and boom. Right? Or does it go, yeah. And now, brilliant. So now I can do something like 7GM to go to 70% of the line. Mwah. That is amazing. That is so good. So we stage this and this. Let's open, yeah, we'll fix it. To dot files. GM is simplified. count is multiplied by 10. That's brilliant. And with that being the case, fuck sneak, because it apparently doesn't work, so whatever. Therefore, we go to plugins that I have installed, search for sneak, we delete it. Remove sneak plugin. And now Q I can actually use. Well, in that case, how about I use Q to be GE? I like that because I really like X a lot, and parting with it doesn't feel particularly great. Okay, yeah, that's like the perfect solution. And capital X, deleting before. I used to have it be for me, X used to copy a single character, but in reality I should probably get used to YL and still use the useful nature of capital X. So Q, capital Q. Now when I reload, I can use that. I can still have my functionality of X. Brilliant. That is amazing. Yeah. QQ acts as GE, G capital E instead of XX. I love that. Oh, and by the way, now GE and G capital E I can use for other remaps, by the way, which is pretty nice. Okay. And I don't, like, I was thinking of maybe trying out hop again instead of sneak, but with GM I don't really need to. Like, if say, yeah, perfect example, by the way, I want to go to the opening double quote when plug, like here basically, and I can't be bothered to count how many quotes I need to get through, so I do like for GM, and close enough, and just do B twice. Well, I would usually use the F motion, to be fair. Okay. Right. Is there maybe something like a more convenient way of pressing GM? So instead of 2 characters, maybe some single character? Best I can do is a single uppercase character. And it could be X, but when I think about it, say I want to go to 20%, I stretch my left palm up and then going all the way down. That is harder than GM. So I'll just get used to GM. Okay. Boom, we're done with that. We can continue on here. So actually not X, like 20 GM. Fuck, that's actually so convenient. Q, that's so damn convenient. Like 7 GM. Oh, yeah, that's actually big. With how I traverse distances, first being vertical and then horizontal, GM is huge. a lot of people will go like, will basically skip a page is how I would word it. They see a very useful plugin, like, to be fair. And they're like, oh my god, yeah, I'm gonna use it. I can see that, but I think there's value in learning the most efficient default ways, because they can be like marvelous in their own ways. So something like GM, for example, by default, it's annoying enough where you don't want to use it. So first of all, I have to type in two numbers, for the most part, like 20 and then G, capital M, like to add up to all of this, making it pretty much unusable. Fun fact, maybe, but kind of unusable. But with single character GM, now it becomes pretty real. So I love that. I wanted to fix something. Right. See, like, goddamn. Very useful. So CW, kill word, and after word, hold up, what I should have done is word E, nice, delete char, boom. Let's gaf stage modified, CW, fucking finally. Because if I do want to keep the space, CAW then. But if I want to do it this way for some reason, I should be able to. Okay, so how many annoyances have I fixed? One for new vim, technically two at the same time. Then an annoyance with X being taken away from me. Now I can do this, finally, again. I actually missed it a lot. DL will never come close to me. Now, something like D3L, I would do it. However, I often D3X instead, to be fair. Because directional character-wise things don't make sense to me. So 1, 2, 3, I mean, sure, but what if you're on A and now, like, now it's exclusive? You know, like, it's as if my cursor is this, but it isn't. It's a full block, so it's so confusing. Obviously, I got used to it, but I don't like it still. Another annoyance that I fixed is the same thing in fish, so now I can use GE still, but with Q. Pretty nice. And after I fixed DAW and CAW, which I was so annoyed by, like, for a while. Turns out it's not that difficult to fix them. So if you were annoyed by this as well, here you go. Okay, so let's stage them. First of all, ZCapital, yes, dot files. Ooh, I also changed a bunch of options. GM, add more NeoVim options, like, so it's easier to search later, like copy options. Keep calling them copy options when they're really not. So and it's the only place. Okay, so Q and capital Q. Q, capital Q, act like GE, G capital E, G capital E in fish shell. Around word fish shell text objects, technically. Around word fish shell text objects work correctly. All right. And the final thing of the stream, I actually finished editing a video. So let's open YouTube in a new tab and go back to YouTube Studio. Yeah, so what, huh? Okay, let's try it this way. Just didn't give me all the menus, that's crazy. Actually, I did a video, so here you go. Watch it. It's a video on how I edit videos with Blender. Believe it or not, that's what I use now. And you can watch the video to figure out why and how and why it's actually low-key good. Another thing that I do, and tell me if this is annoying, I'm not sure if it is, like being blasted with a video when you open a YouTube channel. I've noticed it being annoying to me, but it's like fine. I'm okay with it. And maybe some people actually see that video and like start watching it right there. Very interested if this is the case for everyone, for anyone rather. So boom. And thank you for watching. I'm unsure where I should be ending my streams. Okay, let's try this. So I just put it where it needs to be, and like, can I just end stream here, or will it cut off? Oh, I guess I'll watch the VOD to figure this out. So I press end stream, and let's see when it gets ended for you guys. Goodbye.